What's going on, guys? Zephyrnix here, and I want to go ahead and talk about these Nintendo NX controller leaks here. Now, first, I wasn't going to go ahead and give love to it because of the fact that I mean, it kind of looked like it was kind of fake and whatever. But it's time to play Gaming Detective again because there's a lot of things in this picture here that indicates that these controllers might actually be real. Now, let's go ahead and talk about it for a second. Now, a lot of people want to look at the actual controller itself and try to decide if it's real or fake. You're looking at the wrong part. Don't look at the controller. Look at the environment. Notice a couple of things here. Let me go down here and click on this particular picture here so the thing won't move so much. You'll notice that, number one, you have here the actual light. Now this light is shining from the window here, and you see the part of the light is actually blocked off by a monitor, which is actually sitting right there. Now, don't get me wrong, yes, you can go ahead and do this inside of a 3D program. That is very true. So let's go ahead and keep on going. You also have the fact that you have a window right here. Now, this looks like an open window right here with showing some life outside of the actual offices that they're currently located in. So, I mean, that's a little bit much for what a 3D program is willing to do just to fuck with you. You know, it's a little too much. Another thing is this. You also see a little bit of a wire right here coming from the monitor itself. Once again, a little bit too much to go ahead and just say, I'm just fucks with you. You know, I'm just saying there's a lot of things here that's showing it's a little too much for them. Watch the positioning of this wire here. We're going to come to that in a bit, but just keep an eye on that positioning. I'm assuming that this wire is not for this, but this wire is actually for this. And if you notice, this particular keyboard is showing the light a little bit too much, which is based on the fact that of the finish of the actual laptop, as well as the finishing of the actual black keys here, which show a lot of light coming on here. Now, sadly, this is probably going to go ahead and give him away because of the fact that the keys, you can tell the actual language of the keys and whatnot, so you kind of know, you can narrow down to where this is actually the picture's actually taking place, sadly, but it is what it is. But anyway, this whole picture in itself will be considered too much because of the fact that it's too bright. Not too much, excuse me. It'd be considered bad because it's too bright. Now, I want to go ahead and show you another picture here. This would give a reason for this picture. What he did was he did a couple of things with this picture. Number one, he moved the actual device. So because he moves the device, the wire moved. If you look here, this particular wire is not where it was. And then you also see in the reflection, he closed the blinds. So there's a couple of things that, that show that he just wanted to give a better picture of it. And of course, you also see the reflection of the monitor, and you see the actual reflection of the guy with so happen just a single light in the background. I mean, don't get me wrong, this could have been done in a 3D program, but fuck shit, damn. I don't really see that this actually happening like this much is put into it. Hell, it's even got little coffee stains into it. All three in which are totally different. So I mean, yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this for a second here. Now, first and foremost, I want to give some love back to the original pictures for a second here. So these were the original pictures that were pushed out here, and I noticed a couple of things here. Now, number one, what you see here, the images is supposed to be some form of game. Now, a couple of things I noticed here that a lot of other people haven't noticed. Number one, if you look right here, it looks like a frames per second initiator, which the frames per second is actually pushing past 60. So that's a thing. In fact, it looks like 62.92. It looks like, I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it's past 60. Now, I also want to go ahead and show you over here. Now, you see these two knobs here, which is also shown in the other pictures here. This is the patent that they actually showed here. So you got the knobs here, and then you also have the knobs here. Now, so this is going to be your form of what do you call it? Your analog sticks, if you will. Now, is this bad? No, not really, but it could be. Like, I don't want to say it's bad because they may not be. I would have to really play it to find out. But it may actually, because of how small it is and the way it is, like it's pretty much you put your thumb on it. So it might actually give way to some decent gameplay responses. I'm kind of really upset that there's no D-pad. I mean, the D-pad is almost traditional at this point. But anyway, I am noticing something else. Notice the B here, the A here, which okay, I'm actually down with that too because I've actually been playing the PSP emulator on my phone recently, so I'm actually kind of used and down with the whole buttons being. It's like I want these to be physical, but the buttons I really don't mind them being based off of button presses on a machine on the software. I don't really mind that, but I also noticed this. Here's an arrow pointing right. and some other icon up here. So that gives away to the fact that you don't have to just stick to regular buttons, but you can go ahead and make them look like anything that you want. Well, that's actually a hell of a lot better too. That actually gives more reasons to go ahead and say, you know what? Fuck that. I in fact do want some artificial buttons. I mean, I'm just saying it's or some software buttons. What do you want to call them? I am actually okay with that now that I see that, because that gives a little more, that gives like a little bit better towards gameplay, if you will. So perhaps this is not, I mean, I know in here rather it shows this, but maybe this is not really gameplay. You know, a lot of people kind of assume that this would be gameplay. Maybe it's not really gameplay, or maybe it is, and they actually can go and stream down here for the most part. But perhaps, just perhaps, this is just simply to make the controller, give a theme to the controller, if you will. So imagine, you know how you got to get a Xbox controller, and the Xbox controller is always black, white, you know, or you can get like blue color one. What if instead of that, you pretty much got a default either white thing like this or a black one, but in the middle here wasn't really gameplay. It was just a picture, if you will. And this picture may have had the buttons on it in order to go ahead and do it. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but I'm saying that I'm just kind of giving some thoughts here. You know, I mean, this right here, I'm not 100% sure. I'm looking here, and I told you before, I do see the frames per second, so this could be gameplay, but I'm just giving other examples. You know, I'm not saying anything I'm saying right now is not labeled in stone or whatever the case may be. It's not the Ten Commandments. All I'm saying is that, yeah. So I'm seeing that. So right, once again, I am happy with the whole joystick part right here, both sides here. You also see two buttons here, and I'm assuming there's a button here as well, which does go ahead and show in these particular patents. And you do see a little button right here as well. I've also noticed that you got a camera, uh, two slots here, which look like a speaker, one dot here, which is most likely a microphone, and you got this right here, which is also right here. Now, notice the dot is actually missing here, so I noticed that as well here. So that's something that we need to be that we need to kind of address here. Let me go back here for a second here and look at this one. So I'm also finding it really weird that, let me see something a second here. I'm also finding it really weird that this one wasn't labeled, but this one was. I'm just saying, you know. Interesting. Anyway, so just kind of looking at stuff here. So yeah, I'm also seeing this here, and I'm not really sure 100% what this really is. It could be something that you pull down and you can plug something into it. That is definitely a possibility. Going back to the patents here, I am not seeing anything that indicates anything here, but that shape is consistent with here. I'm also not seeing anything that plugs in, but it's something that's plugged in here. So, and there's something plugged into the top as well. And the patent looks like it shows that, where it says 100, it does actually show that there might be something plugged into here. Once again, I'm kind of very interested to find this out here. Like, I'm not 100% sure about the picture, if it's going to be actual picture, or maybe it's just going to be a theme that's on there. Either way, I prefer the theme over the actual picture, but we'll see. Let's see here. Anything else? I wanted to go ahead and give love to this too. So the guy did this on Vine here, and I'm not really a Vine watcher here, but I wanted to go ahead and kind of take a peek at some stuff here. What if this was gameplay, or what if this was well, just say buttons? You know, this kind of gives love to both of the directions I'm going here. So if this was gameplay in itself, you can see how the game would actually play here. And then you can literally, as he actually did an animation where it actually looks like he pressed the buttons here. And when he actually pressed the buttons, like you had an animation of some, you know, artificial buttons once again popping up here, and they also popped over here. So these are really good examples. So how it kind of popped up right there, and then of course you have right there. Those are actual very good examples of what it could be. And of course over here you got the hearts, and you got a couple things going on here. But then at the same time, you could go ahead and dismiss the entire gameplay right here and just assume these buttons would be here, and these buttons are actually, like, imagine pressing this here, and depending on your situation, what will pop up. So maybe this would pop up, you know, or maybe it would just like pop up as something else, you know. So I kind of like the buttons like this, because the way it was in the I'm looking at this here, and I'm looking at the buttons right here, and these buttons are very reminiscent of the GameCube version. So think about the GameCube version for a second. Now, I do remember like certain things changing. Like this was actually on the screen, and it would change depending on what weapon you had and all that. So imagine for a second you being able to have the screen, the HUD on the screen, the heads-up display on the actual monitor, a little more clearer, where you got to see a lot more gameplay, and you got to focus on that. Where all the other heads-up display stuff I hear would actually be here. Not all of it, mind you, but things like like the weapon parts like here, and maybe your inventory like this. Like I said, it's a new way to kind of look at it. So my overall thoughts on it is that it's not bad per se. And it looks like not this, but this looks like it actually could be real. You know, I'm kind of mad that not mad, but I'm kind of noticing that they kind of missed the whole aerodynamics, if you quote it, or whatever you want to call them, for these little handheld things right here, where you can go ahead and kind of hold your hand here. Um, so that's a thing. And keep in mind, this may not even be the final build. A lot of people looking at this. Of course, the haters are doing their usual hate thing, but in all honesty, it's not bad at all. Uh, it's not bad at all. In fact, it's actually pretty damn good. I mean, if you just kind of look at a couple of things, you know, this could actually be good. And as a person who's been playing, I play a good amount of games on my phone, and let me tell you something. The only problem I have, like for example, my PlayStation Portable emulator. The only problem I have with my PlayStation emulator, honestly, is these right here. Honestly, it's this. The buttons are freaking awesome. I love the buttons on the artificial buttons. They're fine. It's just these right here that really present a problem. So this could actually be much better in terms of gameplay. Now, I don't know how this would translate over to other situations, like how this would translate over to playing Super Mario Brothers, like the regular Super Mario Brothers, if it was emulated on here, because you don't have a D-pad. So perhaps you could put the D-pad right here, or maybe you want to put the D-pad artificially right here, and then put the buttons over here, which actually could work. Judging from what we're seeing here, um, this actually could. So the actual size of it would probably be about this. Actually, judging from what I'm seeing here, this would actually be about the size. Nope. Judging from the picture here, it would be roughly about this size. These are about the size of my hands right here. So, and I'm a little scared because it may be based on Japanese hands. So, Japanese tend to have smaller hands, so we could be looking at this, dude. Which is all possible. So we're going to pray that it's about this size. Now, this is actually not too bad. This, in fact, I have my phone is actually a Galaxy S, excuse me, a Note S5, I think it is, and it's about that size. So it's about the size, a little bit bigger in terms of length, of a simple cell phone. So that means that the actual picture in there would be more or less about the same real estate as one of the. I got a Samsung Note. What's this? A Samsung Note 5, I think it is, or 4, one or the other. Either way, my phone literally comes about to here to here, which basically means that, and that's certain just a regular length. So in terms of visuals, it actually starts from here to here. So it does look like you'll have the same visual aspect as some of the latest cell phones, which is not bad at all. The real estate in my phone is great for me to play games. And keep in mind, I have to have this stuff in the middle of it because of that. So honestly, it actually would work out even better than an actual cell phone, gaming on a cell phone. So overall, like I said, my thoughts on, well, I can't give a 100% this is legit. I will say that it does look pretty good, and I'm highly considering it. I also want to bring note to this. Now that I brought up the D-pad and all that, I also want to bring up to this. So one thing that was actually my original thought to go and tell you about this, that if it was this big, 250, you could fit a D-pad right there, and it would still not interfere with anything for the most part. But I also do want to go ahead and cover. Is this the picture? This. I noticed that the Wii U pad is sitting there on the desk. Now, Why would that Wii pad be sitting on a desk is another thing too. Now I could say, well, yeah, it's just there because it is, or perhaps the NX is going to be compatible with the Wii U. I mean, think about it for a second. If you're working on the NX and clearly you got this new controller on your desk working on it, why would you have a Wii U controller? Or it could be just so happen that the guy focuses on Wii U and all of a sudden he got his hands on this and decided to take a picture of it. There's a lot of things to go ahead and whatever on, but I'm just saying what I'm saying. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Comment section below. We'll argue it out. You guys have a good night. Zeph out.